Right beneath our feet, there's this incredible invisible world. It's an entire ecosystem that's absolutely teeming with life. A microscopic battlefield that, believe it or not, holds the secret to growing healthier, more resilient plants. So that brings us to the big question, right? How can we get past just, feeding our plants and start actually empowering the natural systems that help them thrive? Well, as we're about to see, the answer lies in understanding and influencing the incredibly powerful world of soil microbes. All right, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to explore that unseen world below. Then we'll get into the whole idea of probiotics for plants. After that, we'll dive into the science behind it with something called the theory of dominance. We'll look at how it all works, from the soil right up to the leaf, and then finally, we'll break down what makes this approach so totally different. Okay, first up, the unseen world below. It is so easy to think of soil as just dirt, but it's not. It's a living, breathing ecosystem. And inside this ecosystem, there's this constant, invisible battle for balance being waged by literally trillions of microorganisms. The best way to think about it is like this. You've basically got three main groups of microbes. You have the good guys, we call them fermentative microbes. Then you have the bad guys, the putrefactive ones that cause all the rot and disease. And then there's this third, massive group, the undecided. They're kind of like the swing voters of the soil, just hanging back, waiting to see which side gets the upper hand before they jump in. So, the million-dollar question is, how do you make sure the good guys win that fight? And that's where we get to our next section, probiotics for your plants. We're going to take a look at a product called Green Man Agro, which is, for all intents and purposes, a probiotic liquid designed to tip that microbial balance in favor of the good guys. See, at the heart of this whole thing is a concept called effective microorganisms. This isn't just one type of bacteria in a bottle. Oh no, it's a living, breathing team, a consortium of beneficial microbes that have all been specially chosen because they work together. It's all about synergy, creating this powerful, positive effect on the soil. And what's really cool is who's on this core team. We're talking about three absolute powerhouse groups: lactic acid bacteria, photosynthetic bacteria, and a bunch of beneficial yeasts. Now, each one has its own specific job, but their real magic, as you're about to see, comes from how they cooperate. And this brings us to the key scientific idea that makes it all possible: the theory of dominance. And this is super important. It's not just about adding more good microbes. It's about fundamentally changing the entire system. This slide shows it perfectly. It's the two paths any organic matter can take. On one side, you've got putrefaction. That's just rotting. It's a degenerative process. It wastes energy, it creates pollutants, it's just bad. But on the other side, you have fermentation. This is a regenerative process. It doesn't just break things down, it actually creates amazing new compounds like antioxidants, vitamins, and enzymes that enrich the soil and basically supercharge the plant. So here's how that takeover actually happens. You start with your soil. You introduce this big, dominant army of fermenting microbes from Green Man Agro. And they don't just go to war with the bad guys. No, they influence that huge group of undecided swing voter microbes, and they convince them to join their side. And just like that, the entire ecosystem shifts away from degenerative rot and towards productive, life-giving fermentation. Okay, so that's the theory, but what does it actually do for the plant? What are the results you can see? Let's follow the action, from the soil all the way up to the leaf. Down in the soil, these microbes get to work right away. They start breaking down organic matter into nutrients the plant can actually absorb. They actively suppress harmful pathogens. If you've ever dealt with compacted, lifeless soil, this is the fix. It's about rebuilding the foundation, improving the structure, helping it hold water, and basically creating a self-fertilizing, healthy home for your plant's roots. But hey, it's not just for the soil. When you apply it to the leaves, this microbial team creates a living, breathing, protective shield. It actually outcompetes pathogens for space, and it even kicks the plant's own immune system into high gear. So think about plants that struggle with mildew or get stressed out by the hot sun. This biofilm helps them tolerate all kinds of stress, from drought to intense UV light. And look, the results really do speak for themselves. Check out these observations from trials run by actual growers. Lean Middleburg, who grows chrysanthemums, saw a 5 to 10% increase in weight, plus greener leaves and better roots. And for Ridge and Hill Young Plants, they reported better root development, healthier plants, and, you guessed it, more vegetables. These are the kinds of real-world results that show this isn't just theory. So you might be thinking, okay, but what makes this different from other biostimulants out there? Well, it really boils down to three key things: synergy, stability, and strength. First up, synergy. Just think about it this way. One person can get a lot done, sure, but a highly specialized team of 16 people, they can do so much more. This consortium has 16 different live probiotic strains, and that diversity, that complexity, lets them perform a huge range of beneficial jobs in the soil and on the plant. This quote really just says it all, doesn't it? The power isn't in one single microbe. It's in the community. It's the teamwork. They support each other, they work together, and they create a system that is way more effective and way more resilient than any one of them could be alone. And that teamwork leads to some incredible stability and strength. The community is totally self-sustaining. Literally, the waste from one microbe is food for another. This makes them unbelievably robust, able to work in a huge range of conditions from pH 2 to 14 and temperatures from 5 to 50 degrees Celsius. And get this, it gives the product a shelf life of over 15 months with no refrigeration needed. For growers, that is a massive advantage. So here's the most important thing to take away. This is not about adding another temporary fertilizer or spray to your routine. It's a complete shift in thinking. The goal here is to repair and regenerate the living ecosystem of the soil, to create a system that can sustain itself and support healthy plants all on its own. Which kind of leaves us with one last, pretty big question to think about. What if the future of agriculture, whether you're on a massive farm or just in your own backyard, doesn't lie in constantly fighting against nature with more and more inputs, but in learning how to understand, support, and just plain empower it? It's a really powerful idea, and it could change everything about how we grow. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.